go to open homes as like $1,000
cover, which is yung
Ang maipapayo.
And what is the implication?
so with kaya nga
This thing and this thing, hindi talaga siya binahin for your Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Home Buying Tips in New Zealand. Can you believe it? Episode 2 already. Wow. I'm Judy, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mary Ann. Hi, Mary Ann. How's it going?
Hi, Ate. Hi, everyone. We are so excited as what you've said, Ate. It's actually a milestone.
I
It's
know.
almost a year. Oh my golly. So it's 2 more weeks
2 more
and we're
weeks.
1 year. So I'm so excited to be here tonight for this special milestone with you, Ate. Oh my golly. That was so quick.
Absolutely. And before we dive in, I'd like to start with a quick quote. I don't know where I got this from. And this is actually a perfect quote for tonight's episode. It says, "The best way to predict your future is to create it. No one else will create it but you yourself." It's all about planning, preparing, and taking action for the life you want, especially when it comes to financial decisions like buying your first home or securing your retirement. And that's exactly what we'll be talking about tonight.
Yes, that's correct. So whether you're a first-time buyer or home buyer or looking to grow your savings for the future, tonight's episode, guys, is for you. So we're diving into KiwiSaver and how it can unlock so many opportunities for you here in New Zealand. But before we jump into that, let us know in the comments if are you already signed up for KiwiSaver or are you still exploring your options? So we'd love to hear back from you guys, especially those who stayed with us for the whole year.
Yeah, I can hear some laughing sound. Are the kids behind you? Or
It's school holiday at so it's like everywhere.
I've recently heard of a lot of Filipinos moving to New Zealand. Some are still on their work visa. And I know many have processed their residency because of the straight
resident, I think.
pathway for secondary
Yeah.
teachers. So once you get your residency, you are eligible to have your KiwiSaver set up. But when I started this, it was automatic to a random KiwiSaver provider. I didn't have any idea what this is all about and which one is the best because there are heaps of providers around actually. So drop us a comment. Let us know if you already have a KiwiSaver or you're still planning or you're just thinking. And don't forget to hit that like button if you're excited for tonight's discussion. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode live on YouTube and on Facebook, not on TikTok though. And this platform all about helping you navigate life in New Zealand, whether it's buying a home, investing smartly, or building a career and thriving here in the land of the long white cloud.
Yes. And speaking of investing smartly, we have a very special guest joining us tonight. So we are very thrilled to introduce May Bokiron. She is the Filipino financial advisor who recently made a move to New Zealand. So May brings her expertise from the Philippines and is already making waves in the financial community here. So helping people make the most out of KiwiSaver, guys.
Yes, and May's fresh perspective as a new advisor in New Zealand and becoming a new immigrant here, she can definitely relate to new ones who just recently moved to New Zealand, right? So this is something super exciting for everybody, not just for us. It's for everyone, especially you in New Zealand here, because you're still like finding your way on how to settle here in New Zealand. And she's going to share practical tips on how KiwiSaver can help you buy your first home or help me buy my second home or my son's first home and plan for our future. So whether you are just starting or just getting started with KiwiSaver or looking to maximize your savings, this is one thing I'm really looking forward to learning. This episode is packed with valuable information. So yeah, watch it.
Exactly, Ate, exactly. And if you've ever wondered if it's possible to use KiwiSaver to get ahead, especially as a migrant or someone new to New Zealand, then tonight's discussion is going to answer all your questions.
May's
Right.
journey is very inspiring, so we can't wait to share her story with you guys. So let's welcome now. Make sure you grab your pen and take notes, please, and engage in our chat. We'll be answering questions along the way. Let's welcome May Bukiron. How are you, May?
Hello, hello. Good evening, Mary Ann and Julie.
How
It's
are you?
actually
Ate,
an honor to be a guest of yours on your 50th episode. And considering na mag-go 1 year na ang Grow
Yeah,
Yourself,
yeah.
I feel so honored.
Oh, we are good. So finally, we found a Kiwi Saver who is a Filipina as well. We have a guest last time talked about Kiwi Saver, and
Mm,
it was like an eye opener to us
Yeah.
as well. But this time around, it's different because you're new here and
mm,
you can share with us your experience. But we'll probably start with the first question that I personally am interested as to what brought you to New Zealand, and how was your experience as financial advisor here? Oh, by the way, you can also include where about are you from in the Philippines?
yes.
Oh, in the Philippines or in Metro Manila, Marikina, the shoe
Oh.
capital of the Philippines. We're from there. And
Millennia.
then, yeah. So definite. I think the same as other Filipinos who wanted to migrate to other countries. It's probably more of having or having access to more or more opportunities and better lifestyle, living
Mm,
conditions of the family. Yeah.
Just a
mm,
follow-up question. What degree have you completed in the Philippines, and what was the pathway coming to New Zealand?
yeah.
Mm. In the Philippines, I graduated BS Management. So, medyo relevant sa finances. But yung pathway namin dito, I was able to use the skills I have. Because in the
Mm,
Philippines, actually, way back in 2011, I come across a job opening in Job Street that
mm,
offers the RG 146. That's the certification or diploma equivalent in Australia to be a financial
mm.
advisor. But that time the company is hiring for offshore employees. So
Mm.
meaning we're in the Philippines but we will be catering to Australian clients. So
Oh.
essentially our my title is an offshore paraplanner, that is to assist financial advisors. So I don't have any experience in giving direct advice, but essentially yung role is for financial essentially it's a financial advisor role less the direct giving direct client advice, because we assist advisors, talk to them, formulate strategies for the clients, and yeah,
Oh.
so yung create retirement planning for the clients, and then the advisors will be the one to present that to the clients. So
Mhm.
in between, kumbaga kami yung nasa background nung
Mm.
kumbaga sa
To
behind the
assist
scenes,
with,
kami yung nasa behind
yeah.
nung buong presentation ni advisor.
So, Miss May, so in saying that, so during that time, was that your first job that really handles indirectly to the financial world of Australia? Because Australia is kind of similar to New Zealand, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, oo.
Okay. So was that the
Abs
very first job that you have after you finished the BSBA, or
no. It's actually I've initially worked in a stock brokering firm in US. And then after that, I moved to a local bank in the Philippines. And
uh-huh.
then I discovered this certification for a financial advisor in Australia. Then I tried my luck and I tried to see if where will my career go after that. Then eto na, nandito na ako sa New Zealand.
Oh,
And I was
good.
able to convert my license or my certification from Australia to New Zealand to be able
Oh,
to, yeah, for me myself, provide direct advice not to clients.
Oh,
even
okay. So you
though,
did that was your
yeah.
pathway po? Like, did you
Yes,
not
yeah, yan
do
yung
studying?
pathway. It was a
Oh.
financial investment advisor na skills occupation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice to hear that. So even though you're new to New Zealand, you are not completely new. You're kind of well experienced advisor with your experiences in Australia and US.
Yeah,
Now,
in Australia, actually, I have more than 10 years of experience. And then in New Zealand, I just entered the New Zealand market 2018 because actually the employer I have now was my employer back then when I was in Australia.
Oh.
And then he moved to New Zealand. So we made contact again. I reached out to him and he said he's needing some paraplanner. So yeah, I want to try that market as well. So
Ah.
that's the reason why I was able to know more about KiwiSaver, investment, how
yeah,
it differs to Australia.
yeah. Oh, awesome. So the next question would be, what are the biggest differences you've noticed between managing investments in the Philippines, because you have experience there, and in
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand? And if you can include Australia and US as well, that would be great for us to learn more.
Yeah. Actually, I think main big difference is that we don't really have indirect investments in the Philippines. We don't really have financial advisors in the Philippines. When you say financial advisor in the Philippines, ang unang papasok sa isip natin is an insurance broker. So
Yes, that's
they're
true.
the ones who provide and link sila sa specific providers, Sun Life, Blue Life, di
Yeah.
ba?
Yeah.
And then kung ano yung product nila, that's what they recommend. So
So do you,
basically, I think that's the um closest na access natin to a financial advisor.
Mm.
Essentially, like yung may magi-invest sa'yo ng mutual fund, kasi
yeah.
sa mga banks, may mga available na mutual funds. Usually, you have to just go to the bank to be able to access those kinds of investments. And
Mm.
then for stocks, we have the Philippine Stocks Exchange. You'll just have to
Mm.
open an online trading account to be
Mm,
able to trade stocks in the Philippines. And that's the
Yeah.
difference. I think that's the big difference here.
Mm.
Since dito may mga financial advisors that can actually assist you from start to end of your financial journey. And
Mhm.
parang sila yung magiging best friend mo lalo na pagdating sa finances kasi alam nila yung buhay mo, yung how you
yeah.
spend your money, yung
Yeah.
how they advise you na or you keep track of your expenses, go slow for the meantime kasi paubos na
Mm.
yung funds mo, 'di ba? We need to check on your spending habits, lifestyle, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I think that's the big I think yun yung big challenge natin sa Philippines, nawala sa Philippines na I think hindi natin ma-address and maraming Filipinos yung we have this mindset na yung investments pang mayaman lang, 'di ba? Yung
Mm,
for a
mm,
regular Filipino, parang feeling mo you don't have if you don't if you're not in the upper economic status sa economy, you don't have a right to invest. Parang ganun yung mindset natin. And I think, as a Filipino, nadadala natin siya dito. So, takot tayong
Yes.
mag-take risk in terms of this.
yes.
Kasi we don't really
That's
know all about it.
Miss May, this is a very important question for me because currently this is what Ate Juvie knows as well with with what do we call that? With new migrants that's coming in, especially to Filipinos, because I would want to help as much Filipinos as well. So not just in, of course, buying a home and settling here in New Zealand, but I want them to understand. So of course, they would want to know about more of KiwiSaver. Do you give advice when it comes to the KiwiSaver
Yeah.
in New Zealand, like for immigrants?
Yes, we give KiwiSaver advice. Actually, our company is
Mm.
providing we call it holistic financial advice because we're not
Mm-hmm.
really directly connected to any KiwiSaver provider. So what we
Mm-hmm.
do is, because there are 38 KiwiSaver providers across New Zealand. So sobrang dami. So what we do the tasks of researching, reviewing each of the KiwiSaver provider. And then from there, we identify which actually is the KiwiSaver that we think is the best for the client.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what we recommend. Yeah. So when
Oh.
we're selecting KiwiSavers, we usually look at its features, yung functionality niya, and the fees.
But
Oh,
Yeah.
in linking with that, Miss May, is that you know how when I moved here, when I first moved here, my pathway was a student, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then my very first job, what happened was my very first job opened me a Kiwi Saver, and
Mm-hmm.
because I was on student visa, I realized that, oh, wait a minute, my employer is contributing to my Kiwi Saver, and then suddenly I'm also being like kind of contributing
Mm-hmm.
because it's getting deducted to my salary. And then I realized, oh wait, am I allowed to have a Kiwi Saver? So I think a lot of migrants, not just Filipinos, are having this kind of questions like, are
Yeah.
they actually allowed to have Kiwi Saver even if they don't have residency?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes. KiwiSaver is only allowed for resident visa holders, PRs, and citizens. So, I think ang nangyari kasi is sometimes the employers are actually required to auto-enroll
Mm.
their employees once they start in the company. So I think some companies doesn't really check if you're eligible or not. Basta
Yeah.
feeling nila nakapasok ka na, may work ka na, parang akala nila resident ka na rin. So they don't really ask for example your
Yeah.
visa and etc and all that. So if that happens, actually there are three things that can be done.
Okay.
One is either you tell the employer that you're not yet eligible for KiwiSaver, so they can stop the contribution for you and
Contribution. Yeah.
stop the deductions. And anything that you have been contributing to that KiwiSaver can be refunded by the IRD.
Mm-mm-mm.
And the other one
Oh.
And then the other one is from the employer's side naman. As soon as they learn that you're not yet eligible to receive the KiwiSaver, they can report that to IRD, and then the IRD can do the refund of any contributions that's been made. And then
Mm.
last, IRD actually conducts regular check as well. Although they don't really walang specific time frame when they do the checks. But as soon as they learn that an eligible KiwiSaver member has entered the scheme, they try to contact either the KiwiSaver member or the employer of that KiwiSaver member so that they can do the refund of those KiwiSavers.
Oh, okay. Because that happened with one of my staff when I was a manager before that happened. And then up to like they were already staying in New Zealand for more than a year and they've been
Mm-hmm.
contributing. And what happened was when they had to renew their visa, they didn't get renewed by the immigration because they're not skilled enough because they were applying for the skilled migrant
Mm-hmm.
category. So what happened was they didn't get they got declined. They have to move out of New Zealand. They were given a time to leave New Zealand. And so they realized they've been contributing to this Kiwi Saver and they didn't know that they're not eligible. What happened was of course the government won't give them the money that they have
ooh.
contributed to that Kiwi Saver,
Mm.
but the employee can withdraw that. Is that correct, Miss May?
Yeah, actually, yes, the employee can withdraw that since essentially they're not supposed to be contributing into the KiwiSaver
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
So
That's
it's
good to
just the ones that was contributed by the employer and the government.
Yeah, the one that they've contributed will be going back to them. The one
Mm.
contributed by the employer would be going back to the
The
employer.
employer.
And then any government contribution that's been made will be going back to the government.
Okay, what about the interest? Because it's been a year, of course, probably it has gone
Mm.
up.
Yeah,
Oh, to the
even the interest that's earned they will have a computation for that to be able to give back
Mm.
to the
Okay.
members, the
At least they got
supposedly
their money
members.
back.
So
Yeah.
that's clear for every
Yeah.
immigrant or clients that just moved.
So my follow-up question is, if it's only for residents, is there any other way for somebody who's on work visa to invest their money if they want to?
Actually, for those on work visa, if they really intend to stay for good, especially in New Zealand, most KiwiSaver providers also has an equivalent investment platform that they can actually invest into, start an investment. Although different from KiwiSaver, you don't really get the benefits of the 3% employer contribution and government contribution. But at least it's another way for you to invest your funds apart
Yes.
from having it just like in apart from having it invested in cash,
In
for
the bank.
example, or in a savings account. That's another way. It's an
Mhm.
investment account.
So what do you call it?
Managed, actually it's also a managed fund.
Mm.
We call it as a private wealth investment. Yeah,
That's good to know.
it's similar to the functions is similar to KiwiSaver. You also invest. The options are also the same, usually mostly for KiwiSaver and the investment funds. Yun, wala lang yung features ng
Yes.
KiwiSaver dun sa investment. And
So
I think ang medyo hindi ko alam kung possible na pwedeng pros and cons, you can actually access it anytime. Unlike KiwiSaver that it's usually
You
locked.
can't.
Yeah, you can either only
um,
withdraw it when you're buying a home or at
yeah,
retirement. The
yes.
Yes.
investment actually is another platform where, but that can be easily accessible. So if you want to withdraw from it anytime, you can do that.
So it's
That's
quite similar to just a savings account. Hey.
yes,
And
that's right.
where can you how can you do this? Do you need an investment advisor like yourself, or you can just search it up online? How does it work?
You don't really need an investment advisor to open one. You can, if you were actually comfortable with your existing KiwiSaver provider, you can check out on their website. They would usually have an
Oh,
option for investment. But of
oh, okay, good to know that. I just shouldn't put
yeah.
that in. Oh, have you heard of Share Seas, by the way?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've heard of that. Yes.
So is that a KiwiSaver provider as well, or a different entity?
It's actually a part of an investment platform. The equivalent of KiwiSaver that's not locked out. That's not locked. That's not
Oh
locked
yeah, because
in.
it's still open and accessible anytime you
Yeah.
want. Put in more money and you can withdraw your money, because I'm actually investing at Seas for a little amount since 2020. Anyway, if do you also have access to it? If, say for example, we want to tap you to manage our account on Seas and or get advice from you, do you offer that?
Yes, actually, we partner with the providers that we usually, well, when we reviews investment, we usually partners with them so that we can have access to the client accounts. And
Mm.
then that would also allow us to make regular reviews on the portfolio, and then recommend whichever, if for example a certain stocks or a certain fund is no longer performing based on expectations, we can recommend that you sell that down and then buy
Mm.
another investment vehicle. Yeah.
Oh.
Do you have
So
a follow up?
okay, because I didn't realize that. So just a little bit of clarification, Miss May. So the company that you work for right now can literally just handle clients with different subscription from different company.
Yeah,
And then you
that's
kind of
right.
just manage their personal
Mm.
portfolio, and then do just understand. Do you have to understand, like, as an investment advisor, Miss May, do you have to understand each policy of these companies?
Yes, Definitely, we're required to do a lot because otherwise
Yeah.
we won't be able to make recommendations if not, and then we won't be
Yeah.
able to explain it properly to the clients. So we have
That's
to
what I was
know
thinking.
how the process works, how, like for example, how to buy and sell, how to
Mm.
withdraw from the fund, how to deposit. That, yun, yung
with
mga basic things like that.
with real estate agents, even the mortgage advisors, they would offer their services initially for free. So I'm just wondering if we're gonna get or book an initial appointment with you, Miss May, personally for a personal advice, investment advice. Would there be a charge or free in the
Well,
beginning
yeah,
and
actually, it's the same for mortgage and real estate brokers.
then
It's initial consultation. It's usually free, and then of course, I think I want to try to be able to be more accessible to all fellow kababayans as well. So if they have questions, concerns, issues, they can actually message me anytime, and I'll answer them for free. without
oh,
any
that's so nice of you.
without any additional
Oh.
fee.
Oh, this is really fantastic, right? Like we are not so knowledgeable about money and investment back home. And when we move here, everything is almost everything is organized here. And you are
Yeah,
encouraged to be knowledgeable on how to handle your money, your loans, and everything. So
Mm.
it's good to know that we have another free, I mean, free in New Zealand
yeah.
investment advice. So the initial appointment would be free. So uh, let's chat with
Yeah.
May soon.
Now, Miss May, so how does that work? Like, it will be the client that pays you, right? So it's not because some financial advisors, or not, let's just say mortgage brokers. So like say all our friends who are mortgage broker, the one that pays them is the bank that they will get the
Mm-hmm.
approval of the loan. So with you, it will be the client to you.
With us, it would be the investment portfolio. For
Mm.
example, since we're managing the portfolio, so syempre, kung umakyat yung portfolio, kaya yung ano namin is, we try to get the best possible outcome. Kasi if you
Mm.
win, we also win. Because that means we get a higher commission from that portfolio as well.
Mhm. Ah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ate, like I'll ask this next question. So, how you've been working as an investment advisor for quite some time now. For that amount of time that you've worked, what are the common mistakes people make when signing up for say with KiwiSaver or investment? What are the common mistakes?
Hmm. I think yung isa sa mga um one of the things that's not really a mistake, but but as humans, we try to include our feelings and emotions when investing. Because investing is a
Yes.
complicated thing. Especially when because there are two types of investing. There's the defensive type, and then there's
Uh-huh.
the growth type. Especially if and then the growth type is the one who's providing a much longer or higher return in the long run. But
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, it is also the type of investment that's we call it
Slow.
volatile. Yung change niya, yung akyat baba niya, yung akyat baba ng pricing for the
Mm-hmm.
yung for example, yung mga stocks, that's one growth assets that we classify as growth. Yung short-term volatility niya, it's too high. So one day you'll see your balance as,
Mm.
for example, 2,000, and then the next day kita mo 1,500 na lang. Tapos on the third day
Oh.
makita mo umakyat na naman siya sa 2,500, and then the other day, ayun yung roller coaster of emotions nandun din when you're especially when you're monitoring your own investments almost every day. Ang hirap na i-accept na nalulugi ka, especially when the market is down. So
Yeah.
yun, yung pagiging yung emotions as much as possible, when we're doing investing, we have to be prepared of the ups and downs of the investments we're taking in. And then I think, apart from being prepared on those kind of roller coaster, we have to also learn to accept what type of tolerance we are when we're investing. So are we going to really be aggressive enough to go for 100% growth asset portfolio, and
Uh-huh.
then would we be acceptable for those short term volatility of our balances in the account, or are we going to be more on the defensive side where we're just settled with cash and fixed
It's
interest,
hard.
and then
Yeah.
let's just go from there. Yeah.
Let's have this specific scenario, May. Say for example, I'm an immigrant here. I just recently got my residency, and my aim is to start my KiwiSaver, and after 3 years I can use it for my first home. What would
Mm-hmm.
be the best scheme I would go through, and the percentage of my deposit, so that I will reach my goal after 3 years?
Provided we have the cash flow, um, we have the enough cash flow to sustain a maximum contribution. Of course, that would be the most,
10%.
what you call this, optimistic one, the 10% contribution. Once you contribute 10%, ang laki ng akyat ng KiwiSaver balance natin eh. And then if you have
Mm.
surplus, actually there's no maximum limit to the level of contribution you make in your KiwiSaver. Yung 10%
Mm.
is just for your salary. If you have actually enough savings or additional surplus that you can put in your KiwiSaver as well for it to grow. Although, for a for an investment goal wherein you want to access it in let's say in 3 years, we usually normally just recommend like a more conservative approach, like 30 to 50% growth
Mhm.
investment. So that, because yung fluctuation kasi in the short term, medyo risky for if you really want to use the funds in that short time frame. So we
That's
won't normally recommend a 85% or 100% growth for that
mm.
specific scenario. But
Thank you
then
for
if
that.
but then if you're not really after that withdrawal of from your first home, and then you really just intend to use it for retirement, we usually go for the higher growth
Yeah.
risk for the investments.
Yeah.
Because you've mentioned that there's no limit to the amount of contributions. Would you
Yes.
recommend putting your savings into KiwiSaver rather than saving it in your bank account?
It actually depends on your needs for that. Kasi maganda rin na meron kang cash, liquid cash for you to
Yeah.
access anytime. If it's actually a cash that you're not going to use anyway,
Huge.
you can just put that to KiwiSaver. Pero yon, ang recommendation parati is to make sure you have enough emergency fund in case you need it. And then if there's any surplus, you can either do it as an investment or put it in the KiwiSaver. Wherein it's more safer kasi you won't have to access it
Yeah.
anytime
You
soon.
can withdraw it anytime
Yeah.
you want.
But
Uh,
if Ate and Miss May, we are talking about all these benefits and it's safer in anything, I just wanted to ask, is there any risk or is there any negative side of having a Kiwi saver?
Well, I think any investment is always a risk naman. So, I think given na yon. But then, I think yung KiwiSaver kasi is intended for the long term actually. It's not just for the first home, but as well
Yeah.
as for the long term. And since given the market trend, the market trend is usually growing, pataas naman siya
Mm.
parate. And even, yun, nagkaroon tayo ng pandemic, may war sa Ukraine, may election sa US,
mhm.
nagkakaroon ng, it will
Impact.
always have fluctuations. So it will always rise up and down in the short term. But in the long term, we will see that yung trend is parati namang pataas. So there's always an opportunity to grow. And then actually may isa akong binabasang article yesterday. It says there na since we're in an inflationary environment na everything is rising, the only way actually to offset that is through growth assets talaga. Kasi even if you're investing in, for example, term deposit, fixed interest, which will just give you around, say, 5% growth over the long term, parang kumbaga walang, yung impact niya is ma-offset or overpower siya ng inflationary rates that's going on na hindi naman natin, it's one thing that we cannot really avoid.
That's true.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question here. Since KiwiSaver is only open to residents, is it required to all residents at least, or can you opt out?
No, that's actually one thing that I think most of us don't know. It's actually a voluntary scheme. KiwiSaver is a voluntary scheme that you can opt not to join in if you don't want to. But of course, with the benefits, why would you? Why would you? But then, yeah,
To be very
optional
fair
siya.
though, my husband was opted out since the beginning of KiwiSaver, and I was very upset with it.
So how is it
And
now? Does he have his KiwiSaver now, or still not?
He opened his KiwiSaver when we became boyfriend and girlfriend because I had to explain to him the benefit of KiwiSaver.
At least he's a good husband.
At least.
Sorry,
Ayan,
what was
pero
the-
once you opt in, you cannot opt out na from KiwiSaver.
that was
Yeah,
supposed to
that's
be
the
my
thing.
next question. Oh my god! So even if you I want to enjoy my KiwiSaver before I retire, you cannot really do that.
I'm sorry?
If say for example, I would like to use my money before I retire, I would like to withdraw it before I retire, I cannot do it, eh?
Yes, unless under special conditions, it's either through personal financial hardship or serious illness. But other than
Yeah.
that, and then home buying. Other than those, you cannot
Wala.
withdraw from your KiwiSaver until retirement. Yeah.
Oh, at least that's clear. I know I've heard of those others, but I'm really amazed with the other information I'm learning today. Marianne.
Yes, Adam. So another what I have another question. So still, are there any simple strategy for actually maximizing your KiwiSaver? Because like for me, I chose the growth. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the higher risk, longer term, because at the like in the beginning, I was wanting to have that because we were planning that Steven's one will be the one that we can use for buying a house, and then
Mm-hmm.
what I have will be our retirement. So,
Mm-hmm.
is there any other way that you want to actually maximize it aside from contributing a higher contribution?
Well, actually, yung growth assets, yung growth portfolio na yung malaki. But what we can do is you can actually shop for other KiwiSaver providers that can offer a higher rate of return. Because if you notice, if meron tayong I'm not sure if pinoprovide siya ng mga KiwiSaver providers on a regular basis, but there's a quarterly fund update that your fund has, and it shows how your KiwiSaver is invested. And then makikita mo doon na, for example, for a growth asset, it usually is invested in, for example, 80% growth and then 20% defensive assets. But some are actually investing the growth assets as 100%. So that means if it's invested 100% growth, you'll be able to maximize more since naka-growth assets siya lahat. Yes.
Can I have a quick check on mine? Where's my phone? Because my provider actually sends those
Mm-hmm.
those updates, but I never get to actually really read it. But I see I can see all the companies where it's invested.
Yeah, it's where it's invested. Then
Yeah.
makikita mo rin how they are perform. If you do your own research, you can see how they are or how are they performing. So you
Uh,
can compare that with other investment providers and investment options as well. Actually, that's what we do. That's why we try to max it. That's because we try to, as much as possible, maximize the return of the
Yes.
investment
mm,
portfolio. Because of course, kung di ba, if you can get a 17% increase on one provider and then you're just receiving 8% now, you'd rather
Yeah.
go to the one with
yeah.
17% increase, right?
I'll definitely book my first appointment with you. What's your number? I've been
Oh,
I
actually, you
can
have to put
create
the
I can
the
actually create a
information.
free KiwiSaver comparison so that you can see
okay.
what you've been missing
That's good.
out.
Because, we cannot. I don't think we can use our KiwiSaver anymore because we already bought our first home. Unless I've heard that if we sell our first home, then we are considered first home buyers again, and then we can use
Another
Kiwi.
chance.
Correct
It
me if I.
actually that would depend if your position for buying your second home would be the same as when the time you're buying your first home. So you'll have to
Mm,
when you do that, you'll have to actually be assessed by Kainga Aura. You'll have to
Oh
mm.
refer to
no,
them
kaya nga
first.
ora again.
Yes, before
I'm not going to
you
qualify.
try to withdraw from your KiwiSaver.
I don't think I'm gonna qualify again because I've already applied to them for our first home. Yeah. So never mind. In other words, my Kiwi Saver will just be for my retirement, and I'm gonna add your number here.
Yeah.
So if anyone would like to contact May, where is it? Why is it not going? My goodness. Okay, hang on. Save. All right. Is it showing? Oh no. Sorry. Yep. For anyone who would like to contact May for a free initial appointment, if you are still scouting as to what's the best KiwiSaver provider for you, because this is definitely personal. Here's May contact number. Correct me if I've put in the wrong one. I hope it's all
Yeah,
correct.
that's correct. That's correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Now I've got one. I hope I don't have any more questions, but this hopefully will be my last questions. My last question: how would you encourage anyone who is maybe having a second thought of starting a Kiwi Saver? I don't think they should have a second thought. That's no brainer,
Yeah.
right? Benefits of
Yeah.
the government. But to those who are still having a second thought whether they have the best provider for them, how would you encourage them to contact you?
Actually, for me, personally kasi, of course, we all want to be able to say, have enough savings when we retire. Um, ano tawag dito? Ang medyo yung mind setting, yung magiging challenge parati natin when it comes to financial planning. Because we don't really know whether that investment will go up or go down. And yung takot na mag-loss ka in an investment scheme. But then, for me kasi when you're investing, ang laging rule of thumb ko is you only invest what you can afford to lose. And if it's
Yeah.
something, it's a fund, it's some funds, some surplus funds that you really don't really need in the short term, might as well put that into an investment and let it grow. Because iba yung iba kasi yung i-keep mo lang siya sa cash. So pag
Yeah.
nag-invest ka kasi ng kunyari nag-deposit ka lang ng 1,000 sa cash, in 10 years that will just be a
Yeah.
1,000. But
Mm.
unlike if you invest in a growth assets, that could actually turn times 2 or times 3 in value. Perhaps I
Mm.
Yeah.
want to share a difference between a growth asset and a defensive asset
Yes.
para they can see the difference.
Oh yeah, that would be
Yes.
perfect. You have something to share
I
with
have
us?
a I actually have a graph that I've
Yeah, because I'm actually checking it now. I have the growth
I'll check
fund,
my
and then
one
I
too.
open. Yeah, I opened Steven's one. I think his one is more of a
you are with
conservative.
you are with Generate, Mary Ann,
Yes.
right? I'm with
Yes,
A and Z
that
at the moment, but
I
I'm
used
thinking.
to have A and Z when I first initially opened it. But then I saw that I just had that kind of there was someone from Generate who explained to me during that time, and then I saw that there was kind of a difference with the growth
Oh,
or something like that. And then
are you
I
open
tried it.
to are you open to knowing more with the Miss May?
Yeah.
Maybe there will be other.
Actually, I want to learn more about other investments because I opened an investment, Miss May, in the Philippines under the BPI Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a life insurance, but it's gotta return every 2 years. It gives me back the 50,000 pesos.
Ooh, hey, that's
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
good. Yeah.
How do you
Actually,
think?
yung isa sa mga differences ng investments natin sa Pilipinas, yung in the Philippines is usually connected, the insurance, investment are usually
Yes.
connected. But
Yes.
I think the only con with that one is as soon as maubos mo na yung funds dun sa investment mo, you also lose the insurance.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So I think I haven't even actually. I just opened it, Miss May, because my sister opened it, and she's already receiving
mhm,
the 2 years one, and then I said, but they only offer it in certain, like it's like a limit for people. The reason
mhm,
that why they were able to give it to me is because my sister and my brother-in-law are big, kind of like member of.
uh-uh.
So I was opportunity to open as well, and I just find it really cool because they say that it's going to mature after 6 years, and then after that 6 years, that's when it starts that I'm going to be receiving the 50,000 back if I don't use it. And then by 10 years it's going to kind of like stop it, but you still continue to receive the 50,000.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is that
that's
real?
cool.
Yeah,
Actually.
I don't understand, but I'm like, well, I don't know. I that's what you said, Miss May, right? If you can invest something that
Yeah.
you're okay to lose,
Yeah,
not
you're
okay to
willing to
lose,
let go.
but like you don't really feel it because you're using New Zealand dollars comparing it to the Philippine
Yeah.
peso, so it's not too bad. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
need
is
Miss
the
May.
can you see my screen?
Oh no, no, hang on. I'll add it. There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is what I'm saying. This is an investor who invested in 2014 for $100, and then he just kept it at that. There are two investors. One is investing in the global bond market, and the other one is in the global equities. And then after 10 years, if you notice, the one that invested 100 grand or $100 in global
Mm-hmm.
equities actually received 329
Oh.
in 2024 versus the one with global bonds that just only got
Mm,
99. So nabawasan pa yung $100 niya.
Oo
mm,
nga.
Yeah. And then if you notice yung dito if the sa bonds medyo stable siya, almost straight line lang.
mm.
But the equities you can see it's going up and down.
So equities
Yeah.
is better than
Yeah.
bonds.
But eventually the trend is always still pataas.
Mm.
Mm.
Kaya
Yeah.
'yun, kaya we normally try to maximize that. But of course, not all kumbaga not all stocks or equities are created equal even in properties. So
Mm.
we also have to do our own due diligence whether that specific stocks
Feel
will have
good.
a great opportunity to grow over time. And
Mm.
then there are actually companies that are usually overvalued, and sometimes yun yung mga iniiwasan nating investments, yung mga overvalued na we're trying to go as much as possible dun sa mga undervalued companies because they are the ones who are actually can give you that could actually maximize the return potential over the long term.
Cool.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, because like forgive me if I'm very, very ano po,
Interested.
you know, yeah. No, forgive me, Miss May, if I'm very illiterate about
Oh,
financial thing. But okay, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. But um
I
global
agree.
bonds
Me too.
and global equities, what is the difference between the like what do you mean if you say global bonds? And what do you
global
mean global equities?
global bonds actually ang pinaka, if you're familiar with treasuries,
Uh-huh.
mga treasury bills, the bonds that are usually being offered by the government. Yeah.
No idea.
Although I think ang pinaka relatable na ano natin dito is fixed
Comparison.
term deposit. Term deposit. There
Oh,
yun yung parang
Oh,
kahit papaano yung medyo relatable
yeah, we can
tayo.
relate.
Kasi 'di ba, we invest in a term deposit that has a specific
Yeah.
period. For example, 3 months, 1 year, and then you cannot actually withdraw that money for that
yeah.
specific period. This is the same with bonds. You invest an amount, then there's a maturity.
Ah, okay.
Oo.
What
And
about
then
the
I think the difference with bonds is they can be tradable in the market depending on if you have a buyer or a seller for that specific bond. So you can actually, it's like stocks na you can offer it. For example, I have a $100 bond and someone wants to buy it at 150 because he thinks that the value of that bond will increase
Increase,
in
yeah.
that period, yeah. So that's how you can also earn from bonds. Pero hindi yung kumbaga yung akyat nung value niya, it's
it's
not
not
that big compared to equities.
Okay, and then now the equities, Miss May.
yeah.
Equities, if we're familiar with yung mga publicly listed companies. So for
Okay,
example,
yeah.
Jollibee, BPI sa
Yes.
Philippines, 'di ba? Usually we trade it on sa online like BPI online trading, yung mga trading shares, example yung Sharesies.
Ah,
I think may mga available apart from managed funds, I think there are also
mhm.
available NZ equities there. So you buy at a price, kumbaga magbibili ka ng ownership of that company.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what I'm doing actually. Although I am still not so knowledgeable about what I'm buying online. Yes, maybe if you can educate us more next time, and I'll be able
Sure.
to put in more. Because I know I've been buying shares from the THL, Green Cross, even Facebook, Meta.
Facebook.
Mhm, mhm.
One share for around 200 something last 2 years ago, and now it has gone up to 3 or 400 US dollar.
Yeah.
I don't really have much. I'm just playing around and I'm trying to study it, but I need an advisor like you to educate me. Maybe we can have
And
an
Yeah.
also one more thing, I think hindi rin tayo masyadong aware is that um yung income are actually taxed, 'di ba, in New Zealand, but the gains are actually not. So for example, in this example, usually equities earn dividends. Yun yung parang pinaka-income niya. That's actually that's actually included in our taxable income at the end of when we
yeah.
file a return. But right now, yung sa market natin sa NZ, gains are not. So for example, in this example, yung 329,
Yeah.
when you sell it and you get 329, so you've actually gained 220
Ah,
$229. That's not included in your tax income.
and you will
So
have to
so
submit that.
kumbaga, yeah, you will be able to enjoy that fully.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's
So
Yeah.
you talaga promise yan, Miss May, hindi nila ako uulit hahabulin kasi
Right now, kasi
ayun.
nagbabago-bago yung, of course, yung
law.
legislation. So
Mm,
that's
Yes.
how we actually also recommend yung para may tax efficiency yung mga clients, especially if they have big amounts. Kasi if
mm.
they spend that or if they put that in the bank and then it earns 5% interest. So for example, may
Yeah.
1 million ka. So, and
Mm.
it earns 5%, so that's 50,000. That's additional
Mhm.
50,000 in your taxable income
That's
that you need to file at the end of the year. But if, for
mm.
That's
example, you have it in a, let's say, in a an equity that's not providing any dividends, but it's growing fast. So yung 1 million mo naging 2 million, for example, that 2 million is actually not taxable.
Oh, that sounds more interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? This conversation, Ate and Miss May, made me realize at the back of my mind, I'm like, am I actually gonna keep more investment than buying a house? What's the fastest growth
Oh,
of
yeah.
equity?
Good one.
Is it the investment or buying a land in New Zealand?
Both maybe for me, but
Both,
which one
actually
do you?
both. But it's best if you diversify as well. Because, for
Yeah.
example, properties, yes, it's a growth asset, but it's more of an intangible, I'm not tangible, illiquid asset, I mean, illiquid asset.
Yeah.
So that
Mm.
means if you need the funds in 5 years, say, you'll have to actually sell the property first before you can access the funds. Unlike for investments, if you need
Yeah.
the funds 5 years from now, and you see that um it's actually in a positive, actually kahit losing siya, if you need it, you can actually withdraw anytime.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, well done. We've actually spent an hour
An hour.
already.
Yeah.
Interesting when it comes to money. It's not about greediness. I know some people would think that talking about money sounds like you are greedy or something. They link it to greediness. But for
Yeah.
me, looking forward to a better future, not just for yourself, but for your family who will be enjoying it maybe after you've finished enjoying your life here and
Yeah.
there. And it's
It's
quite
actually
exciting.
not greed, but it's just like we're just wanting to have a good lifestyle
Mm,
that we can enjoy while we're here.
yeah.
Di ba?
And it's good
And
that we're discussing
still,
this.
just a little bit of it because you've mentioned Ate Greed and like you and Miss May as well. Hey, I cannot hear. So um, and then just wanting to link that, I'm pretty sure a lot of Filipinos are religious anyway. But because I read the Bible, and there was this a parable about how Jesus actually explained about this story about that, those people na parang ano daw, pinahiram ng pera. And then yung
Ah,
isa na
Yeah.
pinahiram ng pera, tas hindi niya, tinanim lang niya,
Hindi
inilagay
niya
lang niya sa
ginalaw.
ilalim.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, hindi niya ininvest, which is it's actually more worse than the person who tried to kind of use. It's the same thing as having a gift. We all have skills, we all have gifts. God gave you that skills and then you're not using it. It's pretty much the same as this one. So Miss May have the skills to actually make us literate in the financial world. And if we're not using this information that we're trying to disseminate to everyone who watches us, then it's our loss. So we kind of
Mm.
have
Yeah.
to use this, and it's not greed. It's actually just being smart.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for that, Marianne, linking it to the Bible as well,
Yeah.
since we're Christian people. Anyway, once again, thank you so much, May, and we look forward to having another session with you, another special topic on money, smart investing. Ooh, I like that. So I want more. It's like I've started this. I want to know more.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. And I really hope, we hope that you guys watching us have learned a lot from May, financial advisor,
Yeah.
Hopefully.
and
Yeah.
from
That's our
and
goal
everyone.
anyway, to educate.
Yes, yes. Thank
Actually,
you.
at the Juvie, we've always planned of actually having a catch up and meet up with our viewers, and we've never done it. Maybe on our first year anniversary, or maybe on
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe around December. I'm gonna be very
Yeah.
busy starting next week for term 4, but we can plan it out, and we can
At
invite the
least we can
people.
kind of mingle.
Yeah, we can invite the experts, including May and the lawyers that we have invited, Maricel, mortgage broker, Josie, insurance broker, and everyone that we have invited, if they are going to be free to join us so that we can meet face to face with people who would like to catch up with us. Once again,
Mhm.
May, thank you, and hope you will
Thank you
enjoy
so
the rest
much
of your
too.
night. Regards, your hubby and family. Have a
Yeah,
good night.
thank you, Julie. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you, Miss May. Nice meeting you.
There you
Ayan,
go,
that
everybody.
was,
Hey,
that's
if
very insightful.
and if those who are still watching us right now, if you have topics that you would like us to have as one of our sessions one Wednesday, let us know. And I'm pretty sure if we keep doing this, we're gonna thrive as well. It's not just becoming rich, but rich in our mindset. Last few
Eh,
words from you, Marianne.
yes, and I am actually really looking forward as well from learning aside, not just from Miss May as well in the future if we can book her again if she's not
Yes.
that busy for a little, an hour, an hour or more. But I'm also looking forward at it because I know that we were I've just got in touch with Sanjeev and you've been hearing it from news as well that the OCR has changed too. And I just got to know I heard from Sanjeev as well, which is our favorite mortgage broker, one of our favorite mortgage broker that we guessed in here, that there's another change with ANZ for the
Uh-huh.
developers something. So I just really wanted to talk about that. And hopefully by next week, maybe we can invite Sanjeev again and just to give us an update of what's happening in the real estate world. Because yeah, I'm
True.
taking a break.
Right. Thank you. And tomorrow also, if you have been following my page, I've got another live with a teacher from India. And yeah, join me and ask questions. See you everyone.
Yay!
Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
guys.